Hey guys, this is Jaeger262 and welcome to my first ever Armored Warfare video. I've been a long time fan of the game, but this is a little bit different than what I usually put on my channel. But they just came out with update 0.28, which introduced French vehicles, and I had to make a video about the vehicle you're looking at right now, the AMX-13 DCA. And the reason is because aside from the Abrams AGDS, this is the only SPG anti-aircraft platform in the game, and it's one of my new favorite AFVs. It is absolutely incredible. It is a monster, but the reason it's so special to me, and I think it's so cool, is that it's such an odd choice for the first anti-aircraft. I mean, they could have put the Tungsta, the Striegler, the German Gepard, the American Sergeant York system. There's a bunch of Chinese PLA systems that also incorporate anti-aircraft cannons and SAMs. But instead they went with this smaller, lighter, faster example, and I absolutely love it. I want to thank the developers so much for making this thing, because like I said, it is a beast. It's a beast, and when we get into the stats soon, you'll see why. Now, the actual AMX-13 DCA was developed in the late 60s with the idea that it could fight off helicopters. It was made to traverse and fight jets in early stages of the 50s and 60s, but with France's experience around the world, especially in Indochina, kind of became pointless. Conventional anti-aircraft vehicles became pointless, like the M42 Duster, which is the American SPGAA at the time, which also, if the devs watch this, I would love to see a Duster in the game. But they were ineffective, obviously. The jets at that time were just getting supersonic, and so they reworked it, and that version had a 40mm bore. So they reworked it to what you see here, which is two 30mm Hispano-Soyuz cannons made for helicopters. And because of that, it gets radar, just like all SPG anti-aircraft weapon systems do. But you can actually use radar in the game. It is its own special ability. And if you look at it, it increases the range of spotting a target behind foliage and reduces camouflage factor. So I always drive with this up, even when I'm not behind foliage. It's just a great passive spotting. And what it does is, and I'll try to show it in the vehicle testing area, maybe you can see it in the gameplay clips I have prepared for this, but it's a good passive tool. It doesn't extend your view range at all, but if you have vehicles that are hiding behind all cover, not just foliage, or if you're moving around and the enemy vehicle's moving, you know that you can kind of lose them if they break or stop behind something really quick. With that up, as long as you're moving, the camouflage factor debuff doesn't matter because you're moving anyway, and it keeps them spotted while you're firing, and that's really important for a vehicle like this because it has an insane rate of fire. So let's get into the stats real quick, and just let me show you something. The DPI on this vehicle is 16,000. That is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. The developers nerfed the actual rate of fire to about 500 rounds a minute from the actual 600. And even then, it is still crazy powerful. Average is 40, but you'll see why that doesn't matter. That is a very high number and a great one. The penetration for me says 180. That is stock, I believe. No, stock is 160. So let me get into just with the guns. We'll go over the other stats later. What changes, because this doesn't get any ammunition upgrades, but what it is because of the new French tech tree is all about choices. So if you're new to that concept, you're new to Armored Warfare, this is a little bit different. And so the reason I chose bull barrels is because they give me the penetration that I wanted. I got the recoil reducer because I play this on the move, like I just said. It played aggressively, which you'll see in some of the gameplay clips. And so this allows me to remain accurate, and then improved thermal sights allows the passive radar ability to stay on longer. So this is how I configure it to make it as successful as it can be. If you're looking for different things, you can mix and match any one of these upgrades. Give yourself more armor, give yourself just complete view range if you want to snipe with it, whatever you want to do. I just chose the more aggressive, faster firing, harder hitting version, and it plays beautifully. For defense, 600 hit points, pretty standard. No armor, 79 hull armor, 35, 30. Even though you're not going to be blocking anything anyway, it's more susceptible to all sorts of damage, including small cannons, because it is steel. It's a steel hull, which means it's gonna, it's gonna block nothing. I'm sorry. I was gonna say it's gonna ricochet nothing, but what I meant was bounce. Nothing will ricochet off of it, though. That is a fact. It has no angles, not really. The slope is okay, doesn't do much, and the curve of the turret does absolutely nothing. Mobility, pretty good, 60 kilometers. Hull traverses 41 degrees per second, which is crazy. And because it's an anti-aircraft unit, it gets a turret traverse of 82.4 degrees a second. So you can lock onto targets and follow them the entire time they're moving. You will never lose a target. A target will never be able to outflank you. It is incredible. It is incredible. No retrofits on mine. No special commander skills. I think the vehicle is just that amazing on its own. And so I'm going to take it to the vehicle testing area real quick and just mess around with it while I can still talk to you about it. Because Armored Warfare, unfortunately, with the record I'm using, doesn't like when my microphone is on and I'm recording, and so it just lags. I recorded a couple of games and my ping was at 200 to 600. I mean, it was flying around all crazy, and I couldn't get more than 10 frames. So hopefully it won't do that here, because this isn't technically a real match, but we'll see. As far as the other French vehicles go, they are alright. The only problem with having this vehicle is not only is it going to be really hard to compete with them on the battlefield, but you're going to have to compete. Every French tank has the ability to do this. Now they're all using 20 millimeters, not 30s, but still very hard to compete with the new French tech tree. It's very hard to get damage when one of these things is on the field stealing it. Now, first things first, why I love this vehicle so much, because I'm a huge armor nerd, is just seeing the radome go up. Just seeing that is so cool to me. I think it's such a cute gimmick, and it replicates the real thing really well. So I love that. Alright, let me show you what I'm talking about here with why this penetration is so good and why 40 damage counts. So, the side of an M60, and it's just eating through it. Just going straight through it. The 60 round magazine does not matter, because at the rate of fire that it has, 60 rounds is more than enough to take out any target relatively easy. If you remember when Armored Warfare first launched, and you got the LAV-150 AFV, which still to this day is so incredible with its rate of fire, it can destroy any target in just a few seconds. Well, I like to think of this thing as a tier 5 LAV-150. I mean, it doesn't have the mobility, but it definitely has the firepower. It is just so incredible. Alright, let me see if I can... Yep, so I can show you. Lower plate, P80, Type 80. Just kills it. Kills it with a little less than half of its ammunition left. And it's accurate at, as it's supposed to be, at long range. I mean, it is just incredible. I mean, it's harder to aim. I'm slowing the turret down to aim at those targets, so let me see if I can
identify target.
Give you a greater appreciation of what 82 degrees a second looks like. I mean, this thing is just, look at this, look how fast it's turning. It's turning faster than I can move my mouse, which is that sound you're hearing. I mean, it's just a crazy vehicle. And it looks so amazing. The model, Sorry about that, the camera cut out, or not the camera, but the screen recording program cut out. So the next 3 videos I have, or clips rather, are just the 3 PvE games that I played in this. I couldn't get into any PvP. I'm in North America, so when the Russian server, or when the Russian side of the server calms down, PvP is non-existent here. I'll try to record some gameplay of this vehicle in action in PvP, maybe tomorrow if I can. But just in PvE alone, it's still an incredible vehicle. I highly encourage you to play it. In the videos I show you, it's the average for me. It's about 5,000 to 8,000 damage a game, and it gets it almost every time. It's just a wonderful vehicle to play. It's one of the few AFVs you can play aggressively, and probably my favorite next to the Rosamach. The Rosamach at tier 7 or the VBL, which is at the same tier as this, are the only 2 I can think of that are this aggressive, that are progression. Obviously, there are premium AFVs that are pretty good, like the Martyr 2. But as far as progression goes, this might be one of the best in the game right now. It is a great vehicle, and I mean, what more can you say? It rips apart the battlefields. You'll get to see it. I wish I could have said some things about the battles going into it. I might record some audio over it later. It depends on how I'm feeling. But just watch those, please. Stay tuned. Get a feel for the vehicle in combat. It's incredible. It really is. I mean, Armored Warfare really pulled out all the stops when they designed this thing, and I love it. Thank you so much for watching the video. Throw up a like if you enjoyed the content, or subscribe if you want to see more. I'm going to be doing a little showcase for each of the French vehicles. It'll probably be about 10 minutes of just going over stats, vehicle history, why I enjoy playing it, or how I play it, since they have the choices there now. And then it'll be 3 battles, one really good, an average one, and maybe one that's really bad. I'll try to set it up that way so you can see how this vehicle performs when it gets killed right away, or when it just dominates. And kind of start doing more Armored Warfare videos. I know there's not a lot of people doing it right now, so at least just for update 0.28, I'll be covering these vehicles, the 7 vehicles you see in front of you. Only 6, because I'm not going to do the OF40 twice, but stay tuned. Thank you so much again. I'll see you next time.
Ammo up! Intel was right. That's got to be one of the SAM sites targeting our plane. Take them all out. Identify. Hostile tank. Target destroyed. Target locked. Careful in there. That's the Lions of Neckwheel Town, so proceed with extreme caution. There's no telling what they might do. Identify target. Hostile, PC. No hit. Target eliminated. Ricochet, no effect. Target down. Good work. Clear the skies for us. Target down. Identify. Hostile tank. Target locked. Ricochet, no effect. Target gone. No hit. Target immobilized. Ricochet. Load Sabo. Protect the plane. We've accessed the hard drive remotely, but need time to download the intel. Identify target. Hostile tank. Target identified. Hostile peak. No head. Ricochet. Target destroyed. Load Sabo. Identified.
Penetrated.
Enemy destroyed.
Intel's been downloaded. Thanks, Black Company. You have no idea how important it is to stop the Alliance.
The PLM is determined to capture this port. It's a strategic location that is essential for travel through this region. Do not let him gain a foothold here. Identified. Hostile PC. They're still going to the cargo terminal. Stop them! Those comm stations. That's how they advance so quickly here. Black Company, recapture them! Identify target. Hostile tank. Identify target. Hostile tank. Enemy destroyed. No effect. Ammo up. Identify. Hostile PC. Target locked. Target eliminated. No effect. Threat destroyed. Ammo up. Target locked on. Ricochet. Destroyed. Enemies converging at the helipad. Do not let them land their birds here. Ricochet. No pen. Target locked on. Identify. Hostile PC. Target locked. Target eliminated. Good work. I wasn't sure that you'd have time to get those stations back. Stay sharp, Black Company. They could go naval if they capture that area. Get over there! Identify target. Hostile, PC. Target eliminated.
Penetrated.
Target destroyed. Identified. Hostile, PC. Good work, Black Company. We didn't stop them, but we certainly crippled their efforts to expand.
Black Company, the PLM is attempting to destroy the dam to create a nuclear meltdown. Stop them at all costs. There's 2 teams of enemies working to take down the dam. Stop them immediately.
Identify. Hostile, PC. Ammo up. Threat destroyed. Identify. Hostile. Target locked. Enemy destroyed. Target eliminated. No pen. Target immobilized. Target eliminated.
Well done. The dam has been secured. Black Company, the enemy has refocused their efforts on the reactor itself. They are trying to overrun the control assault on the reactor itself. Protect it at all costs.
Identify. Hostile. Target locked.
Penetrate.
Enemy destroyed. Turret destroyed. Target locked.
Penetrated.
Target down. Target locked. Target locked. Target destroyed. Target destroyed. Loader, Sabo. Identify. Hostile, PC.